All right, morning everybody. So Saturday morning here, and as ever, breakfast and coffee has been had, 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's see if I'm awake enough to do a decent go at Puzzle Rush survival mode. And top score on the daily leaderboard, which we won't get anywhere near because I'm not quite that good, is 71. Grandmaster there, 71. There's a 69. Other master players, 63, 61. Okay, fair enough. And on the hourly one, the top score is 48. Okay. Oh, there's a master player on 40. Wow. Okay. So let's see if we can get anywhere near any of those. So survival mode, basically ever harder and harder and harder puzzles. 3 lives. Once we get 3 wrong, we are done. Usually, I only start dropping lives around 30. But let's see if I end up regretting that statement shortly. Okay, so what have we got here? Right, so the knight is covering this square, which means that the rook coming across is check and mate, because there's no way for the king to escape. So we'll just hover that there. So that's attacking the king, and the king can't go safely to any square. This is going to be a checkmate on the diagonal of death, as I call it. So once this pawn here, well, it isn't here, that's the point, has left that square, that diagonal becomes really, really weak. And this is just checkmate. No way for the king to escape. Nothing can get in the way and nothing can take the queen. So they start off very, very straightforward and get harder. Now, in this case, we've got 2 pieces, the battery pointing at this square here and only 1 defender. And so queen takes rook is check. Rook must take, and now rook here is checkmate because the king is attacked and there's no way for the king to escape. And this one's exactly the same. No way for the king to escape the rook along the back rank. So back rank mate. So far, so good. This is going to be very similar, but we need the help of this other rook this time to cut off these 2 squares as well. So we'll go rook here. The only legal move will be to put the rook in the way. Oh, sorry, the bishop in the way first, then the rook in the way. And now because this rook guards these 2 squares and my rook is going to be attacking the king that way, so checkmate, no way to escape. Okay. I think this is going to be a 3-move checkmate. I'm just making sure. So I think we want to go rook here. King here is the only legal move. Pawn to here will be check. King here is the only legal move. Rook here will then be checkmate. Yeah, that'll be correct. So let's see this here, here, and now here. And you can see for yourself there's no legal moves. This rook covers this line and the other rook guards the second sort of this line. So there's no escape for the king. Okay. So this time we're playing black going up the board, and we've just got pawn takes pawn, which is actually checkmate because our king guards these 2 squares and this pawn guards this one, and actually the king protects the pawn. So if I just hover that there, that's the check, and there's no escape for the king. As you can see, wherever the king goes, he gets taken. So checkmate. They do get harder, folks. Okay, this time we've got a queen and a bishop battery pointing at that weak square that I showed you a few puzzles ago. And so really just bishop takes his check mate. It's check against the king, and the king cannot take the bishop because the bishop's protected by the queen. So that's that one. They do get a lot harder. Remember, the grade goes up as we go along. Once we get to 1500, I might have to start thinking about it a little bit. And once we get to 2,500, then it really is difficult. Okay, now I think what's important here, and it might look a bit silly to say it, I think the fact that this pawn is guarding this square might turn out to be very important here. I think we're going to play rook check, king moves, other rook check, king moves. This rook to here will be check, and there'll be no way to escape the mate. And the point being, because this pawn guards this square. So let's have a little look at this, see if I'm right. Check. Check. The 2 rooks protect each other, so the king can't take the rook. And the computer seems to be being a bit slow this morning. And just click my buttons for a second here, just see if one of them's stuck. And because this pawn's protecting this square, if I put the rook here, that guards everything there. This rook guards this one, and checkmate. So I'll just hold the rook there for a sec. No escape for the white king. Okay, right, this bishop is unprotected, so it's not always checkmates in these puzzle rush. Sometimes it's just to win a piece, and this unprotected bishop here is vulnerable. If I play bishop takes knight, that's check. White will have to deal with the check, probably play queen takes, but then the queen can take this bishop because this one won't be in the way anymore. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be bishop takes knight. He's taking it with the knight, but it makes no difference. And now this bishop is captured and black is just a straight piece up. Okay, this is going to be a sort of a back rank mate. Now this bishop is hitting this square, so the king won't be able to go there. So what we're going to do is play queen takes pawn. That will force the king to the corner. Queen here check will force the rook to take the queen, and then rook takes rook will be mate. So let's see that. Okay, remember our bishop is stopping the king going here, so check. And now rook takes is check, and there's nothing can get in the way, nothing can take our rook, and the king can't move to the white square in front of it because of the bishop. So checkmate. And interestingly enough, this is exactly the same puzzle. It's just that this time there's a pawn blocking that square. So it's exactly the same theme. Check. The king couldn't have taken the queen because, the rook was protecting. And now we just go check, which forces rook takes queen. And now rook takes is a back rank mate. No way for the king to escape. Look. Okay. Right, I think this is going to involve putting a pawn on this square maybe and forking the two rooks. Yeah, I think we're going to play pawn forward, which attacks the queen. The queen will have to go somewhere. Wherever she goes, let's just say she moves back there. We then push the pawn again, and the pawn that's worth 1 will be attacking both rooks that are worth 5. No way for white to save the two rooks. Well, can save one of them. I think that's right. I'm just having a quick look to make sure I'm not missing anything silly, but no, I'm pretty sure that's there and here. And as you can see, we win a rook. Woo. The computer's definitely being a bit sticky this morning. I don't think it'll come across on the video, but it's not quite responding straight away to when I press the buttons, which is why I'm just doing that. I'm just wondering if the buttons are stuck. One of the mouse buttons is stuck. Anyway, this is going to be a back rank mate. So back rank checkmate. So the king can't move. And what we're going to do, I think, is put the queen here, which will force the knight to block. And then we'll take the knight, which will force the rook to block. And then we'll take the rook, and then black will have run out of things to block the mate. So check, check, and checkmate. I'll just leave that there so you can see no way for the king to escape. Okay, so now we're playing up the board as black, and we've got that pattern from a few minutes ago, but this time it's on this side of the board. So the king's going to be blocked in by these two pawns, and we've got the rook and the queen aiming here. So queen here, check. King cannot take because she's protected by her rook. And now we go check, which forces the rook to take. And we go check again, except this time it's mate because, of course, no escape squares for the king. Woo. Okay. This is only protected by one piece, and this isn't protected by any pieces, and the rook is lined up to the enemy queen. So I'm thinking this is probably knight here, because if we play knight takes pawn, the rook is then attacking the queen, so she's going to have to go somewhere. And if she goes there, we can play knight takes bishop, queen takes, but then this is unprotected. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is right. Don't think I'm missing anything. And now the queen's the only thing protecting the knight, but she's also protecting the bishop. So she's what's called overloaded. She's doing too much. And I think, therefore, we can probably play knight takes bishop. I'm just making absolutely sure because I don't want to lose a life being just too quick on an easy puzzle. No, that's got to be right. Yeah. And now, as you can see, we've won a piece. If you look at the board after I let go of the mouse, white will just have an extra bishop. So white will be winning. Okay. Okay, so black has offered a trade of queens. But of course, the only thing protecting this is the rook. Now, I reckon we can distract the rook. Now, the queen is guarding these two squares, so the king won't be able to move. So if we play rook here, check, because the king can't go here, the only legal move for black will be rook takes rook, but then we can play queen takes queen because she won't be protected any longer. So this is a distraction, really. We're distracting the black rook, and now we win the queen, and there was the mouse as being weird again then. And obviously now queen for a rook up, white is winning pretty easily. Okay, they should be due to start getting a bit harder soon. This one, I think we're probably going to be playing rook takes pawn, which is check, knight takes rook, queen takes pawn, protected by the knight, king here, and then queen will go here and it will be mate because the pawn's protecting. I think that's probably right. I'm just checking, make sure I've not missed anything. Rook takes pawn. If the king just hides, so let's just look at some other variations. Rook takes pawn. If the king just goes there, we've got knight takes pawn check, which must be good. And if the king goes here, well, we can still play queen takes here and mate anyway. Yeah, this has got to be right. It's rook takes pawn. So check. And now watch, queen takes pawn because the knight on h4 is protecting the queen, so the king can't take her. And now the pawn guards this square, so queen here is mate. The king cannot capture the queen, and nor can anything else. Okay, right, this one is going to be to do with the rook being on the same line as the queen. So if we play knight takes knight, that's check. White will have to deal with the check, and when they finish dealing with it, we'll just take their queen. So this must be here. Okay, fab. And now we just play rook takes queen, and we've won a queen. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we can play rook takes knight, but after rook takes pawn, rook takes bishop, that endgame is actually a draw, even though white's a pawn up. So I think what we're going to have to do is just gain some time here. We're going to do this first to attack the enemy rook, who will have to move, and then we can play rook takes knight and be guarding our bishop, and then we're winning because we'll have the extra bishop. So here, and now the endgame's winning. Okay, so we're playing black. We're going up the board. Check here, check here, and then rook across is mate because the knight is guarding these two squares, and the rook will be guarding all of that, and the pawn will be guarding that. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so check, check. The two rooks protect each other. And now this is really cool. So the knight's guarding this one and this one, so the king can't go that way. The pawn is guarding this one and this one. The rook here is guarding this one. And when I put this rook here, not only is it check, but it'll also be stopping the king taking the pawn. So that's kind of cool. So that's there. Okay, well, this is just checkmate. This is the easiest puzzle of the lot, unless I'm being really silly, and I'm not. So our king is guarding all three of these squares, so black's king cannot move forward. If I just put the rook here, therefore, it's checkmate. Bizarre. Yeah. So that's completely thrown me. It's the easiest puzzle ever. Okay, this one's a bit more tricky. Now, we can't quite just play queen to here check because the king can escape, but we do have another piece. If I put the bishop here, that's check. Obviously, the king can't just stay on the same diagonal, and he can't go there because of the queen. So what he'd have to, he can't go there, I should say, because of the queen. So he'll have to block with the rook, but then once there's a rook on this square, then this is checkmate. So bishop checks. Oh, he's put the bishop in the way first. Whatever, it doesn't make any difference. Right, and now the king has had all three squares blocked, so queen here is mate. Okay, we're up to 23, 1300 strength puzzles, so starting to get a little trickier. Okay. Um, Is pawn to g4 not just trapping the black queen here? So imagine our pawn's there attacking the queen. Let's see where she can go. She can't go there because of our bishop. She can't go there because of this pawn. She can't go here because of this pawn. She can't obviously stay there because she's already attacked. And if she goes here, well, that's rook takes. And if she takes the knight, that's protected. Yeah, this is just g4. Oh, and she takes the knight. So we won a queen for a knight, and that will win the game. Cool. Okay, this one's a queen sack. Sack, short for sacrifice for any new players. Now, our rook is guarding this entire line, so the king cannot get off of this edge of the board. So I think if we play queen takes pawn, check, king takes is forced, bring the other rook across, and then white can put a couple of pieces in the way, as you'll see, but it'll be checkmate. So let's just do this. So check, check, blocks, blocks, and now we've got what's called the ladder mate. So check from this rook, but our other rook is stopping the king getting off the edge of the board, so it's checkmate. And speaking of which, this is exactly the same. This is just mate in one. So one rook is guarding this line, and when I put the other rook here, it's just checkmate. No way for the king to escape. How on earth is this a 1400 puzzle? The previous puzzle was harder than this. Am I being silly? Am I missing anything? No, I'm not. Just checkmate. That's very strange that that was supposed to be a strong puzzle. Now, what are we doing with this one? I feel like the rook going to the back here is going to be interesting. Hold on, rook there forces the knight in the way. Bishop takes here is check, is supported by the queen, so the king has to go to the corner, and then we play rook takes knight mate. Right, yeah, okay. So rook check, that's forced. Queen and bishop battery, so the bishop takes pawn and is protected by the queen, so the king cannot take the bishop, has to go to the corner, and now that's mate. Remember, the king still can't take the bishop because the queen on c7 is protecting, so that's the end of that one. Okay. Okay, right. This is the first one where I'm not seeing it absolutely immediately. So we've got different checks. We're not going to put the queen there because obviously that just loses the queen, but we could go there or there. We're not going to put it there because that just loses to the pawn. So we've got two checks. It's going to have to be one of them. Okay, I think it's here. Right, okay, let's kill that. So I think it's here. The king can't come to the middle of the board because that would actually be mate. So after queen here, the king will have to go to the corner. Now, if I just put the bishop here with check, he's actually going to have to go there, and then we go queen here, and it's mate. Yeah, so it's here. Okay, now we need to force him into the corner. So bishop here is check. The king will have to go to the corner, and then queen here is a back rank mate. Okay, so here. Oh, hold on. If he puts the bishop in the way, we just play queen two. Yeah, so bishop, if the bishop gets in the way, we just play queen here, and then it's mate anyway. So, okay, so check and mate, no escape for the king. Cool. Okay, so what's going to happen here? We're obviously going to take the bishop, and we need to just stop the black king getting to these two squares, because if he does, it's a draw. So what we do is take it, and now put the king, just going to check, hang on, here, here, here. No, not there. So we actually have to put the king here. And now I think we put the king here, there, there. Just checking that we are quick enough. Yes, so we'll put the king here, and then, oh, well, it's taken the screen away, but the point is we could then run the pawn straight up the side of the board. The black king, the enemy king, was it black or white? I can't remember. Wouldn't have been able to catch us. That's the point. Okay, so my instinct is just to put the knight here, which attacks the king and wins this pawn. So it's not a very exciting puzzle, but I would guess that's going to win the game. I'm just sorry, just went silent there. I was just thinking, yeah, I mean, it has to be, doesn't it? It just has to be, just take the pawn. Oh, there's more to it. Well, then it's going to be knight here because now there's no way for white to guard this pawn. So if I go here, I'll just show you what I mean. So knight to here does two things. First of all, it releases this to go and become a queen, but also it attacks this, and there's no way for white to defend it. You can't go to that square because the knight would take the king. So it's just going to be here. It's got to just be here. Okay. So this puzzle's going on. Now he's going to get this one. Now I've got to be careful. Do I just march our pawn up the board? Hold on. If I go here, here. Wait a minute. I have to just be a little careful with this that I don't do anything really silly. Knight takes, knight takes. I could go knight here, and the other knight would escape, but this is going to run. This is going to run. Right, in fact, so if this is the position, we actually have to play knight takes knight. I think we have to just do this. Yeah, okay, because otherwise, if I allowed the white knight to take our pawn, we'd be in some trouble. So, okay. That was the first one where I just had to slow down a little bit, and I did say it would be around the 30 mark where we start to or I always say it is around the 30 mark, but it starts to get just a little more tricky. Okay. But we haven't lost any lives yet, so that's good. Right, so we've got a queen looking at our queen. If there was some way I could distract this rook, we'd be winning a queen. We've got a check, which doesn't look like it does a lot on the face of it, although perhaps it does. Hang on a minute. If we go rook here, he can't block because obviously I've just said we just get queen takes queen. So our rook's here check. He'd have to go here. And then if I put the queen up here, aren't we just threatening an unstoppable mate here? Because our other rook's guarding this square. Oh, hold on, because they'd have queen takes queen. So maybe not quite. I think I'm on the right lines, but maybe that's not quite it. Am I missing something silly? So here is check. I'm going to have to go here. Queen here, but now he's got here with check. If I put the king here to get out of check, that's the only check remaining. Then I go here, and then I think white's out of checks and has lost. Right, I think this is right. But this is the point of the game at which I could start to lose lives. Now, I think if I go here, I'm threatening two different checkmates because our rook guards this square. So our queen's here. Queen takes his check. Go here. Queen here is the only sensible check. Go here. White's run out of checks and gets mated. I'm sure this is right. And in fact, he's chosen to just lose the rook. I just want to make sure again that, so queen takes rook, queen takes queen, rook takes queen. We've just won a whole rook. But I just want to be absolutely sure. No, of course not, because the queen defends. Yeah, so we haven't got a sensible check, in which case it just has to be queen takes rook. Yeah, and we're a whole rook up. Right, okay, good. That's the first one where we really had to do some thinking. This is not so hard. We've got a knight and a queen here. This knight cannot move because of the pin. So I think knight to here is attacking the queen and the knight. And it's difficult to see really how that's not just going to be really, really good for black. Just check the material. 6 pawns against 7 pawns, 3 pieces against 3 pieces. So that might not be it on its own. Maybe there's a little more to this. Maybe there's a little more to this. So I want to play knight takes. But if the queen just goes back here, doesn't that defend everything? I feel it does. And if it defends everything, then we're not winning. And the whole point of this is supposed to be, okay, I'm an idiot. I've just seen what the point is. I've got completely the right idea, but the wrong move order. So what we're actually going to do is play queen takes knight. which looks like a queen. Well, it is a queen sacrifice because after the king's only legal move is to take the queen, and then we play here. Knight checks and wins the queen, and we're a piece up. Right? Okay, I should have seen that quicker. Goodness me. Right. So check forces the king to take, and now this is check. White will have to get out of check, and then we can take the queen next move, and we've won a piece. Okay, yeah, I should have seen that quicker than I did. Anyway, never mind. This is going to be something to do with this, but I just need to work out how. It's going to be something to do with the discovered attack, the uncovered attack, if you want to call it that. I feel like I want to put the knight here because it's check from two different pieces then. So not that. So it would really, really limit black's choice, white's choice of reply. So here, double check, it has to be this. Yeah, there's no good escape here, is there? It's here. So then if I go queen here, no, not there, sorry, queen here, the only legal move is there, and then queen here is mate. Yeah, so queen to here is check. The king can't take the knight or the queen because they're both protected by pawns. The only safe square is to move sort of up one to c2, and then here is checkmate because the knight is protecting the queen. So the king hasn't got any moves. Okay, right, 33. This is a pretty decent start. Don't want to jinx it. Right, now this is going to be really cool. This queen could, if it was here, is checkmate. So the question is, how am I going to get there? I think if I put, no, maybe not. I was going to say if I block with the rook, but this has got to be right. This is right, isn't it? Because if I block with the rook, then it's suddenly the queen can get to that square. And rook takes rook, king takes, there's nothing else. Black's got no checks. Yeah, I think this is here. I'm just going to make absolutely sure. That blocks the check. Rook takes, king takes. Black's got no more checks, and I don't think can defend this square. So I think it's here. Okay, takes and takes. And yeah, that was the, giving up the queen's the only way to prolong the game. But obviously now we're a queen for a knight up, so that's the end of that one. Oh, I looked away for a sec then and didn't see the move. What was the move? Okay, king here. So, right, this is to do with this rook being loose. So I think if I play rook check, if the king goes that way, the other rook is just going to give checkmate. And yeah, okay, so it's here. If the king goes this way, the other rook comes to this line. The king, if it go wherever it goes, is going to get mated. It'll have to go there. Then it will be rook here, king here, rook here. And because this pawn guards that, it's actually checkmate. Yeah. Okay. So it's this one. This one is check. This one is check. And now here is mate because the king is protecting the rook. So king takes rook's no good. And our pawn there in the middle of the board on e4, I'll put that back a sec, hang on. And this is guarding the escape square. So checkmate. All right, 35. I feel like I want to go check, king here, queen here, and it's basically mate. This one is pretty simple. I think this is right. This will force the queen to get in the way, and it's just mate. That was an easy one for 1900. Goodness. Still, I'm not going to complain. Right. This has got to be something to do with getting this rook away from this knight so that we can play bishop takes knight, I think. What if I play rook takes rook? That will force rook takes. And then check, and I've got two pieces attacking the knight. Yeah, so it's here, isn't it? It's this. Okay, now that's check, and then rook takes, and if white plays rook takes rook, we play bishop takes, or like that, and I'll just hold that on the screen, so we're a whole bishop up and we're winning. Right, okay. I'd like to be able to go queen here because it will be check, king across, and queen takes his mate, except it isn't because that knight's guarding that square. So what I need to do is distract this knight. So I think if I go knight here, I'm threatening mate. If knight takes knight, then what I just showed you will happen. And if the only other way to defend this square to stop me putting the queen here would be to put the queen back, but then suddenly I just play knight takes knight myself and we're winning. So this is here. And here, check. Remember, this knight is guarding the queen and is guarding this square. So now queen here is mate, no escape for the king. Yeah. Okay. Okay, right. Yeah, okay, I've got it. Thought for a second I was going to be a bit stuck here, but no, we're good. So I think the point is, if I can get a knight here, my knight here, this is going to be problems for the black king because it will be forced to the corner and then that's checkmate. So I think what I'm going to do is fork the queen and that square. I think I'm going to play knight here, but I'm going to have a think about it first. So I think knight here threatens the queen. So the queen's going to move. It's going to go somewhere. I don't know, wherever it's going to go. Let's just say it goes back here, whatever. Then knight takes his check, king to the corner, queen takes. Oops, put that pawn down. I just told you the mouse is being weird. I didn't mean to pick that pawn up. My mouse just grabbed it. Okay, so it's here. All right, fine. Queen takes pawn is okay. Now I've got to think what's next, because actually that stops my checkmate idea, which is irritating. That's really irritating. So knight takes pawn now is check, king there, but I can't play queen here all of a sudden because the queen's protecting that square. So that's irritating. I didn't see that. So how do I solve this little conundrum? What if, oh, I see how we do it, right? So knight takes check, king to the corner. Now that knight is a monster. Not only is it helping the checkmate square, but it defends here. So if I put the bishop on this square, that queen then has to get off of this diagonal or be lost. So it's here. And now I think here. And that was forced. Queen takes bishop's the only way to prevent the mate. But we're now a queen up. Okay, that was a good one. And we're into the 2000s, so that's why they're starting to get harder. Okay, right, what's the material here? Are we not just a piece down? Yeah, we're actually a whole rook down here. So whatever we do here, it better be good. Queen check. The king can only go, right, so you've got two moves. It's either king here and then rook across. But then I think the bishop just gets in the way. And I'm not convinced we're actually winning, or are we? Because pawn can go forward. Oh, maybe that's right. Right, put it. Oh, it's done it again. There's definitely something wrong with my mouse pad. I'm just gonna. Yeah, it's being weird. Anyway, so I think queen here check. If white puts the queen in the way, we just play queen takes bishop, and we're just going to be great. We're going to be winning. That's fine. If the king comes across, we'll play, so queen here, king here, our rook here, bishop gets in the way, pawn forward, everything is hitting that, and I reckon we're winning. Yeah, I think that's got to be right. I think that's right. It's here. Oh, it's not. Oh, I've miscalculated something. Okay, not to worry. Not to worry, not to worry, not to worry. Okay. Right, this one is, okay. It's annoying. I want to check that at the end. I always check the ones we get wrong at the end because that's annoyed me because I thought I had that right. So king here, if rook takes, king takes, king here. Actually, no, we don't go there. That's where the point is. We'd have to go here to keep the opposition, wouldn't we? And then king here, and whichever way he goes, we can guard the pawn through. Right, okay. I think this is here. Takes. And now the really important thing is, king here would be a mistake because he'd just stay opposite my king all the time. But I think if I go here, and then here, and then, yeah, that would have given us a chance to guide the pawn through. If you're not sure what I was talking about there, look up a video on the idea of the opposition in chess. Meanwhile, this one I think is going to involve us sacrificing the knight. I think check, king takes, pawn here is just mate. And if check, king here, rook here check, forces king takes, and then pawn here is just mate. No, it's not, because the king can go there. Hold on. I still think this is going to be this. If the king can't go there. If it goes here, if it goes there, we've got a knight check that just wins because king there, rook there is just mate. Right, okay, so it's this. Takes, and this is going to be force the king there, and now we've got checkmate because there's no escape squares. Okay, 41. This looks like it ought to just be knight here because it forks the king and the rook. Is that not just correct? Right, no, hang on. Hold on. There must be more to this than that, surely. No, there isn't, Maybe there isn't. No, this is going to be knight here. So if the king goes to this square or this square, we just win a free rook. So the king will probably go here. But then maybe the point is that we put the knight somewhere else. Maybe we go here and check from the rook. Anyway, this has got to be the right first move. Yeah, okay, so he goes there. Now, the question is, do I just take that? Or do we take advantage of the rook lined up to the king and actually go this way with check? So it'd be check from the rook. And do things in a slightly different way. So, okay, we need to think this through. Knight takes would be check. If the king comes here to attack our rook here protected by the knight, but the king goes here, then we can just take this one. But is that better? I think that's better. So if I take here, we've gained 5 for 3, which means +2. If I go here and then king here and then rook checks, king moves, rook here, we've just gained a straight +4. Yeah, it's got to be this. Yeah, it's got to be this. And then take the knight. Yeah. Okay. So it's just a question of it's better than the alternative. Okay, fine. Good. So 42, this one. Wow, we've got a rook and a queen, rook and a king and a queen all lined up. There has to be something we can do based on this. Okay, this one's hard. Mind you, it's 2300 puzzle, so it ought to be getting hard now. Knight here attacks the queen. I mean, it's a forcing move, so knight here attacks the queen. The queen's going to move. Rook takes bishop will be check. Pawn takes rook. Then that will let us get the queen up here. King will have to move. Queen takes rook. Okay, I think it's going to be here. That's okay. Yeah, so now my idea of rook takes might not work because queen takes. I figured if the queen went like here or something, we could play rook takes, and yeah, but that's a pain. Wait a minute, can I play rook takes pawn here? Yeah, I can. Look at this move. Rook takes pawn is attacking the queen. You can't really play bishop takes because rook takes queen check and we win everything. I think we play rook takes pawn here, don't we? And then the queen's got a... Yeah, I think this is going to be rook takes pawn. Yeah, oh, that's it. Yeah, that was it. It didn't make me follow it through, so to speak. Okay, good. Okay. This is weird because at a glance, I thought white is just winning. So, okay, blah. Right, what are we doing here? So let's investigate. We've got no good checks because obviously that's just no. If I take and he takes, king here, king here, king here, am I going to be able to take advantage of the fact that this pawn is really backwards? Am I going to be able to win the game because of that? So here, king, king, king. Where's he going? King, king. Yeah, that wins for us. And if takes, king, king, king. If he moves the pawn forward, we just take it. He takes us, but we're still winning. Yeah, this is here. And I think we just go here, and then we're just going to win. We're going to mop up. I'm sure this is right. And now we can use this one as the distraction. Oh, no. Oh, I was convinced I had that. Oh, I got the first 4 or 5 moves as well. Oh, okay. Oh, that's irritating. That's irritating. I wonder what I overlooked. Okay, never mind. Right, we got one more life. Can't afford to get any more wrong. Is this here? Knight here cuts off the defense of one rook from the other. So I mean, knight here, if bishop takes, we just play rook takes rook. And knight here forces something to happen because it's attacking the queen. I don't want to rush this because, yeah, knight here is it, isn't it? Because even if rook takes attacking our queen, knight takes queen is check. So that gives us all kinds of time. This is here. Okay, yes. Now what? But yeah, but okay. Oh, okay. So it's rook take. Yeah. So we play rook takes rook, queen takes rook, and now we've got that knight move again, which is check and forks this rook. So we just win an exchange. So this must be right. Must be right. Takes right. Okay. 44. Cool. Oh, those two have annoyed me now, especially as I was so close on that one. Wish I'd gone a bit slower. Right. Let's see what we've got here. I feel like we're going to end up with 2 bishops on these 2 squares here. I think we're going to, and the king's going to be in the middle. Instinct, I want to play knight takes pawn. No, that's not going to do it because pawn takes and bishop takes, he can just block. So that's not quite going to do it. Indeed. Hmm. Knight takes, bishop takes, but he can block, so that's not going to do it. The actual material on the board, the pieces on the board are equal. What am I missing here? What am I missing? What am I missing? Mind you, it's near enough at 2,500 puzzles, so it should be reasonably difficult. What have I missed? Takes, knight takes. We're then threatening this. So he's got to do something. But if he just puts the bishop, the knight here, oh no, that's not going to do it. That's a stupid thing to say. If he puts the knight here, then this square is guarded. And I don't think we're winning. So, bishop takes, pawn, king takes. There's just nothing there. That's not going to do it. Indeed. Don't know. I don't know. It's not often that I just don't have any idea, but this one I can't see what this could be. Initially, I thought there was a way we could end up with both bishops here, but no. So, I'm just going to keep saying until I come up with an idea, I think. Man, I just don't know. Genuinely, I just do not know. Well, I can't sit here and not do anything. I've got to come up with a move. So look, it's a puzzle. So the chances are it's going to be some sort of sacrifice. It's either going to be bishop takes or knight takes, I would think, because it's a puzzle. And in any case, both of those pieces are being attacked. So one of them is going to die regardless. So is this just a question of playing a silly well, it's not silly sacrifice, a sacrifice. But if so, which one? So takes, but then he can, oh no, then he can just go there, can't he? And then he's winning everything. That's the point, isn't it? Bishop takes, pawn takes, and then I've got 2 pieces attacked again. So that's not going to do it. So in that case, it has to be knight takes, forces this, bishop takes, something gets in the way, but then bishop takes, knight takes, and I'm not winning this pawn. Oh, man. Knight takes pawn, bishop takes, threatens the knight. It's actually pinned, so if he breaks the pin, takes, no, that's not going to do it. Well, I don't know. Okay, we can't sit here forever, and I've got to play a move. I don't know what it is. We'll try that. Okay, it was that. So now the question is, presumably bishop takes pawn isn't right. Oh, but what else could it have been? Right, well, we'll find out. Well, 44 is very, very good. We'll have a look at where it gets us on the leaderboard in a minute. But yeah, I'd love to know what else we could have done in that position. Oh, I'm a fool. I'm not even going to show you. Well, I'm going to show you. I'm not going to click the puzzle. If you just go here, you're winning. There's no way to defend the rook. If I'd slowed down for 2 seconds, I'd have got that. Oh, now I'm really annoyed because that's easy. That actually is easy. I need shooting. Okay, fine. Well, you've seen what I should have done there. It's not bishop takes pawn. It's bishop here winning the rook. The only thing black can do is put the knight in the way, and that doesn't even work because then it's just a, yeah, oh, that's stupid. How did I not get that? Anyway, right, let's look at the other two that I've nearly got this one, but not quite. And then we'll have a look at the board. So we knew it was takes. We got king across. We got here. And it doesn't like pawn forward. Wonder why. So pawn here. He 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 moves to get a queen. So he's not going to go that way. So if I play pawn forward and he goes across, pawn forward, he goes across, pawn forward, he takes, king here, and I can't actually get in. That's the point, isn't it? So I have to play here. And now we can push our pawn. And because R1 is going to be with check, I think that's why we're winning. Yeah, because it's check. And so it gains us time to stop his pawn promoting. Right. That's slightly irritating because I should have got that. Let's just get to the other puzzle. 1 second. And this is the other one that I got but didn't get. So I was nearly there with this. It was queen here. Oh, no, it wasn't queen here. That's right, because okay. Wait, what? Oh, I don't want that. I want to do the analysis. Right. Okay, so the computer's now... Okay, I don't know what was going on there. Anyway, right, so the computer is saying it's queen A1. So show the lines. What's wrong with my move, queen C3? Oh, queen C3 is winning. It's still good. Well, okay. Okay. So my idea of queen C3 is still -1. It's still good for black. But queen A1 is the right move. And then it's saying that black's only legal move, which is true, is king to C2. And then queen takes pawn. The only move to keep the game going is here, and then knight to b4 check, and we're looking at -4, and black's just doomed. Okay, so king c1 can't go here because queen b3 is mate. So king to c1, knight to d3 check, and you're doomed, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, well, okay, fine. All right. Annoying, but all right, fine. Yeah, so really speaking, although 44 looks like quite a good score, actually all 3 of the puzzles that I didn't get, I should have got, and 2 of them I was really close to getting. So that's a little bit frustrating. Oh, Tetris Jeff, there's something silly about that one. We've seen that one before. 129 is just no. Whether he's just sitting at the desk for like 7, 8, 9 hours, or whether he's using a computer, whatever, something is weird about that score. I don't know how you're doing that. So forget that one. So looking at the hourly, 44 puts us 9th in the hour. And look, we've come ahead of an international master. So that's kind of cool. Yay. And there was a FIDE master earlier on 40 odd, but they must have been in a different hour. So number 9, it's not too bad. We certainly won't be on the daily list. Again, forgetting about Tetris Jeff, because that's ridiculous. Yeah, 44 is not going to get us on the one with all the masters, but we did manage to get ahead of one international master. So I suppose that's not too bad. Let's let the last one be ninth. Okay, not too bad. And I say we really should have got those other 3 as well. That's really frustrating. If I'd got those other 3 and still had 3 lives, who knows what score we could have got. We might have cracked 50, but it's all ifs and buts. Okay, that'll do that for today. Hopefully that was interesting and enjoyable. I'll see you next time for some more puzzles.